Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. I can see that people are still joining us as I'm speaking, but let me just give you a few introductory remarks and we'll move quite swiftly into the webinar itself. Delighted to see so many people joining us from all over the world, and I hope I'm really appreciative of you taking the time out of your day today to join us. My name's Mark Campbell. I'll be your host in the webinar, discussing how AI automation can transform your Oracle applications. Now, our objective today, myself and my two colleagues, I'll introduce those in a second, is to give everyone, all of you attendees, an insight into how the deployment of the Winfo solution called WinfoBots, how that deployment can improve your ability to transform and expedite some critical business processes, and at the same time save you money, produce more reliable results, and do that in a way which leaves you, the user, in control. So you're going to hear from one of my colleagues today, and I'm delighted to welcome Nufarm, one of our clients, who'll talk to you about their experience which they've had with WinfoBots. So before we introduce ourselves, a few logistics, if I may. First of all, the webinar will last about 45 minutes. I'm speaking to you from the UK today. So 3:45, I will be pretty prompt in closing our webinar to allow you guys to get on with the rest of your day. There'll be roughly 30 minutes or so of presentation from ourselves, and we'll leave 15 minutes for questions at the end. As all the attendees, you'll have your microphones muted today. However, we do welcome your questions in the chat room, so please fire away with any questions. We'll try and pick them up, perhaps as we're in the presentation, if it's relevant to what we're talking about, or indeed we'll come to them at the end. So please fire your questions in as soon as you like. And then finally, just like to reiterate, by attending the presentation today, you are giving your approval to us and your permission for us to record this and subsequently issue the webinar content for those who are unable to make it, or indeed even yourself if you want to listen back to any of the comments. So let's do those introductions I mentioned. If we can move on to the next slide, Shubham. As I mentioned, my name is Mark Campbell. I've got 30 years plus experience as a consultant, and actually, just looking at that photo, that looks like it was taken about 30 years ago. But I've worked as a partner in KPMG and as a CEO or EVP of various large consultancies, and I'm now a director at Winfo Solutions. Shubham, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on your time zones. I'm Shubham Tripathi. I'm an operational excellence lead at Winfo Solutions, aligned to the digital innovations team here. I have an overall experience of over 10 years in operations transformation, mainly looking into enhancing operating model, simplifying processes, introducing automation across the industries. So I'll be talking about our solution over here, and for that, I'm quite excited to be here. And thank you so much for joining us. Over to you, Ajay.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Ajay Thaker. I'm a business process analyst at Nufarm, currently heading the finance transformation rollout, the project which we will talk about soon. I do come with more than 28 years of experience into Oracle EBS domain, financials, manufacturing, supply chain, worked across globally onto global companies, rolling out and making sure the transformation is, beneficial to the company. So I take care from a solution architecture perspective, and which covers shared service implementations and stabilization and transformations. So that's me.
Great, thanks, Ajay. So let's take a little look at our agendas today, if we may. I'll say a few words in a minute about Winfo for those of you who perhaps don't know us so well. Then after that, Shubham will give you a little bit of an understanding about the problems that we encounter and that we think WinfoBots is particularly suitable for addressing. He will then give you a walkthrough of the solution before handing over to Ajay to tell you about Nufarm's journey and exactly how WinfoBots delivered for them. and some of the benefits that they secured by using WinfoBots. Finally, as I said, we'll leave some time at the end for question and answers. So, turning to who are Winfo. If you're not familiar, let me tell you a little bit about us. We are an Oracle-focused systems integrator, and we offer a one-stop shop for pretty much all of your Oracle needs. What does that mean? Well, that includes full lifecycle implementation, targeted interventions to support your Oracle journey and to secure improvements in how your Oracle platform is delivering for you. We deliver enhancements and improvements to e-business suite and cloud instances of Oracle, and we offer a full managed services capability for those who are looking for that. And in addition to that, we have a number of proprietary solutions described across the bottom of this right-hand side of the slide there today. And you'll see WinfoBots is one of those solutions that we'll specifically talk about today. And we have others, and of course, you can gain more information about those on our website if that's of interest to you. We deliver our services across public and private sectors, and we're currently serving clients across North America, UK, Ireland, mainland Europe, Middle East, and indeed Australasia. And we do that with from a base of around about 400 or so consultants who are based both in our delivery centers, 2 delivery centers in India, and indeed in country in those regions, those areas where our clients are based. So that's enough about Winfo for now. You'll pick up a little bit more as we go. I'm going to get straight into the next session or the next part of our agenda and ask Shubham to talk you through the opportunities which we think WinfoBots automation can address. Shubham, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks for setting the stage. Now, before I dive into our solution and its features, I would like to spend a few minutes talking about the challenge at hand. So let's be honest about it. Any sort of business, no matter the size, no matter the industry, faces challenges that can slow down its growth. It drains the resources and also increase inefficiencies. Whether it's manual processes or siloed data, human error, or inability to scale operations. These challenges can hold you back from achieving what you can possibly achieve as per your full potential. Now, these are not just frustrating, these are costly as well, and it impacts your productivity, your customer satisfaction, and also it holds you back on focusing on your strategic goals. Now, you may think we all know the solution of these basic problems. Probably automation is the solution for these, and you are probably right over here. Automation not only reduces your manual tasks, but also empowers team to focus on what truly matters. Now, you'll see on the slide some of the challenges that I mentioned earlier are listed here and are highlighted by some of our major consulting and analyst firms, and how automation can help resolve those challenges. Everything is backed with data. Now, you may ask the question that these challenges have been here for a while, automation have been here for a while, and these are just basic use cases for automation. So why are we talking about this at this day and age? Now, when we started talking to our clients in regards to implementing automation, we heard from them that there were a lot of barriers or challenges when it comes to adoption or implementation. They can be mainly themed around into there's lack of visibility and what bots are doing in the background. There is lack of visual audit trail. There is a lack of understanding on what kind of user interface the bots have, how they can manage that. And also, solutions are expensive and often they're not tailor-made. So there are some of the themes that we were able to extract while having conversations with our clients. Now that we are talking about the challenges here and what we heard from our clients, I would like to invite Ajay to provide his views on if any of these challenges resonates to their automation journey, or if they had any other specific challenges while they were implementing automation.
Thanks, Shubham. We had a couple of challenges. In fact, I can see on the screen number 1 and 4, which definitely it straightway connects with us and our users, especially because anything which you do, it needs transparency. And I think users wanted, like, first thing is they want to know where is what process and what bot's doing. At the same time, can they control it? As it, you know, can it be start? Can it be stopped? Can it be prioritized? Like, if a priority could be set, it's in the end, we wanted user to have a full control. So I definitely connect with number 1 and 4 here, which were part of our challenges, which we mitigated later on when as the program, moved on into implementation. But definitely number 1 and 4 are the key when it comes to automation.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thanks a lot for your feedback. And that's the kind of feedback I was talking about. So we have been hearing clients about their challenges while it comes to adoption, and we kind of sat down and thought about how we can think out of the box, moving away from traditional automation solution to something which kind of addresses these challenges, but at the same time maintains the value that automation is expected to deliver. So we came up with a solution, we calling it as WinfoBots, which is kind of one solution that addresses all these problems. Now, WinfoBots is essentially an end-to-end process optimization solution, which is backed by predefined package solutions for processes. It has a command-based center approach, and the current buzzword, it is AI powered, and to make it more efficient, increase the precision, or make it more dynamic, adaptable. Now, when I mentioned about the first point, it has some sort of predefined package processes. I'm talking about some of the departments and processes that are listed below. This list is not exhaustive, and we are expanding it as we speak. Now, you may think about how we looked into some of these different departments specifically and why we picked all these processes that are listed over here. When we started working on this solution, we thought about picking up some of the key departments in the business, namely being finance, accounting, procurement, human resources, and reporting. These are some of the departments where you'll see a lot of manual activities, or rather resource intensive activities or processes involved in these areas. So we sat down, looked into all the processes in these departments, and tried to pick up some of the processes where we thought has majority of activities as manual activities. And we highlighted them as high potential. When I say high potential, it mainly signifies that we are able to automate majority of the process over here, which is high potential for automation. These processes not only had more manual activities, but it also involved it had limited involvement of humans for any kind of decisions. Then there were some of the processes that were limited on those extensive work or manual work, and more on human involvement in decision making. This is where we highlighted had medium potential. Now, in order for any company to start their automation journey, we encourage them to look into the list of the processes, pick up ones that are high potential, use some of our pre-built solutions, and basically jumpstart their automation journey to get the value as soon as possible. So now the question may come as, okay, some of these things are already taken care of by different automation solutions. So why WinfoBots? So as I mentioned, the first and the most essential point is we have a list of pre-built processes, which kind of helps you to streamline your implementation and also save time. Probably in any sort of implementation, the first steps come into the part of discovery, where we look into different departments, processes, pick the right process, and design a solution for them. However, with our pre-built solution package, we have processes ready to go with a small or negligible configuration that will help it align to your processes. So that will give you a good start to your automation journey. Then it has a live dashboard, which will give you a 360-degree visibility, full view of what bots are performing, where they are failing, what they can do with them, etc. Just on one single screen. Then it's AI powered. It helps you boost accuracy. It helps in terms of making it dynamically adaptable, which is the need of an hour. And also, as I mentioned earlier, custom configured rules, which will help you to basically configure to align to your business, to your departments and processes, and also allocate different roles and responsibilities as per the hierarchy or the users that will be using the application. Now, with that having said, I would just like to give you a walkthrough of the solution so that you will get a flavor of what exactly we are talking about and how it looks like. So let me just quickly move out of presentation mode.
That little silence while we all hope that it fires up properly, shouldn't we?
I hope you can see it now.
Got it.
Right. So this is how the solution or application looks like. You'll see on the top, you have an option to select your instance. So WinfoBots is applicable for both Oracle Cloud and EBS instances. So you have an option to select which instance you are looking at. Then after that, you'll have a view of all the dashboards or the numbers that you would want to see on your home screen. It basically highlights where all you have to pay more attention or whatever the priority areas that you have defined. Everything is configurable. You can design which dashboard you want to see, which data you want to have a look at as soon as you log in. If you move to the next section, which is the bottom section here, you will see a list of processes on the left-hand side and the sub-processes within those processes on the right-hand side. Now, depending upon which area you're responsible for, you may see 1, 2, or maybe multiple processes over here. And within that, you will see different processes that you're looking into. Let's say, for an example, if you're a process owner of a certain process, you probably would see only one of these processes or maybe selected ones over here, which you're responsible for. Now, just to give you a glimpse on how processes look like, if I select invoice invoice creation automation, generally, this is how it would look like in terms of you'll have all your data on the left-hand side, like where all it needs some action, where all it needs any involvement, where what all has been created automatically by the bot, where it has failed, where it detected duplicates, etc. And on the right-hand side at the bottom, you can configure what all graphs you want to see or what data you want to highlight. And over here, you'll see some controls in terms of how you can control the bots from here and also see some analytics on how it's performed, where it's failed, and what can you do as the next steps. So this was just a quick overview of how it looks like. And every process has a different view and different configuration and different setup. Depending on what you need for a business, we can help and configure all these things based on your needs. So I'll quickly jump back to the presentation. Hope you will be able to see it through. Share my screen again. We just do that.
Just while you're doing that, Shubham, a reminder, any questions, please add them to the chat. We've got a few coming through. And as I said, we will pick them up towards the end. So questions for Shubham or indeed Ajay, please fire them in. Back over to you, Shubham.
Right. Hopefully you can see my screen. So
Yep.
basically that was an overview of the solution, how it looks like. And probably I'll hand over the mic to Ajay to provide us a brief of how the journey has been for Nufarm. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you. Thanks, Shubham, for walking through the dashboard. I mean, I'll tell you, users at Nufarm's been very happy to use the dashboard you just presented because it does make a big difference in how we process our transactional processing. But I'll come to that later on. Let me just give a quick brief on Nufarm. We provide at Nufarm. It's a global company. We're based in Europe, North America, Australia. We provide agricultural solutions to customers globally, and we into manufacturing and sales. So we got supply chain. We got all the whole Oracle suite of modules been implemented, including process manufacturing. Our journey started a couple of years ago where we first implemented Oracle. That's when I came on board at Nufarm, and the implementation of Nova's Oracle applications in Europe went well. We got more than 32 operating units in Europe, big large scale set up here and the transactional processing, which needed kind of a, not just Oracle applications, but also we set up our own process in a shared service. We have our own, kind of center of excellence team, which we call it. And on over and above that, the integration of the whole ERP suite together is our kind of footprint. And I'll come to the next slide on how we started off with the journey with Winfo team. But just a little bit of a background here, that when we started implementation, after the implementation, there's always a stabilization, then there was a transformation. And after the transformation, we were looking at, okay, how we can automate and transform together. So the story of how we got engaged with Winfo team and all is that first when we were looking at our month-end processing, because that was challenging. Given so many countries in Europe wanting to do close at the same time, and trying to achieve a 3-day close or trying to achieve step-by-step processes, which were like more than 2,700 odd steps, which has just been done at the month end in different subledgers. And we were looking at, okay, where can we start? And you guys came up on board and suggested, okay, let's start with the inventory, process manufacturing, period and close. And we kind of took that challenge together. We transformed that solution to and improved it. We can say that we not only just implemented a bot or a UiPath solution to automate the steps, but we also introduced a lot when it comes to the reconciliations, when it comes to other steps, which I'll come to that later on. But we started off with the month-end period close, then moved on to the subledger period close, like AP, AR, GL, fixed assets. We automated all the subledgers, been, again, closed by the bot, and then we moved on to using the Google AI integration so that we could automate the invoice creation, the AP invoice creation, the supplier creation, and customer creation, etc. So we've been working together using the WinfoBots solution in the last 2 years, I would say. And recently, we last year, just end of the year, we successfully delivered our FX rates solution as well as the item creation. So that's a high-level journey, guys. What you see there is that we've been using the product WinfoBots. We've been working with automation at Nufarm, and very happy to share how and what we benefited from it. If we move to the next slide, so as we say, our first phase, when we started, it was the month-end closing, and we automated we looked at the number of issues which we had before. For example, issues in people, system, processes. And what we did was we just didn't automate, okay, a step has to be submitting a request or submitting a step. Rather, we looked at, okay, which process could benefit more. And that's why we first started with process manufacturing and inventory, because that's the key when it comes to our organization. And then we moved on to the other subledgers, and we included in that the reconciliation processes as well automated. So the bot starts from the executing all the month-end steps, but also does the reconciliation of the transactional element, accounting elements, submits the reconcile outputs to the users to take a decision, and then we move on to close the period, and then present the data which is needed for further FP&A processing and all. So we did that and streamlined that part of the processes. We gained learned a lot when we did that from the month-end perspective and all. And we said, okay, now we have the infrastructure ready because we've already done the automation. Now we have the team who's using it, the month-end closing automation. Let's look at how we could use our bots, which are only used in the month-end, into our daily processing. And the advantage was that we focused initially into the infrastructure, initially into the how, efficiency, the number of licenses we need, etc. And then we said, okay, let's look at the return on investment, which could be further achieved if we look at the day-to-day processes. So that's where phase 2, phase 3 came in, where we started working on the vendor creation automation, the AP invoice creation automation, and to make sure that we could have the increased efficiency. We reduced the time it takes to process such transactions. We increased the way of we see the KPIs, the numbers which we achieve, for example, how quickly we could turn around setting up a new supplier, or how quickly we process a AP invoice transaction, and that also error-free, and that also kind of in a more controlled way, so that we could monitor how many and when and what has been processed by the bot via the dashboard. So the dashboard comes in very handy, like when our users go and see, okay, what they are in the queue, which queue they are in. If it's rejected for a reason, it's in a rejection queue. Can they reassign it? Can they, reprocess it if the correction's been made? So there's different validations which we went through, but eventually we managed to get this up and running successfully together with this dashboard and all in 3 months' time for AP invoice processing. And then we moved on to the phase 4, where we did the price management, AR invoices, and then the daily FX rate. We make questions sometime. In fact, my users had question, FX rates done once a month. Why do we want to automate? It could be done, uploaded using web ADI, why? And our challenge was, no, it's not just month-end rates. We have daily rates. We have entities, ledgers in Europe, Eastern Europe, where the rates have been published daily, Poland, Romania, and Hungary, and the daily rates published by central bank, and a user spends just an hour and a half daily, go down to this central bank's website, download the rates, upload it. So we automated the whole daily rate processing and the month-end rate processing. So the bot goes now, downloads the rates from these various central banks, uploads them, and then sends a confirmation together with an NetEdge report to the users that, okay, here you go. The rate's been loaded successfully. This is what it is. So these kind of automations helped the users to focus on other bits, which was more productive, especially during month end. They can focus more on other bits rather than doing and pressing the repetitive steps they have to do. So we kind of identified that what are the key processes which could help our users, our business users, the team in Center of Excellence team, which we have in AP team, in AR team, in finance team, so that they could use this solution and be more productive into other areas which they could focus on. So that's where we started off, our story, together with the bots, together with the Google AI solutions which we used, and the command center approach, I think helped us today where we are. We could say it was a tough journey, and there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of improvements. There's a lot of back and forth. But yes, we are happy to say that the transformation was been very, very widely appreciated and useful by the business in Nufarm.
Great, thanks, AJ. That was really fascinating. One of the questions actually came in just before you started talking was what exactly WinfoBots does as part of period close. I think you actually covered quite a bit of that. Is there anything else, maybe Shubham or Ajay, you'd like to add that we've not already talked about?
Sure. So what we did was, and obviously, given we had 45 minutes, I didn't want to go into detail of it, but I'll just briefly explain what bot does. Is that we designed each and every steps as part of the design phase in subledger, in process manufacturing, for example, copying the cost to the next period, when opening the next period before you and close this current period in OPM, or making sure that we run the cost update process, and it runs all the prerequisite steps which are needed for closing a period, but then also the relevant, for example, in AP, the trial balance, the reconciliation of APTB with the transactional being posted or accounted for. So all this accounting, all this reconciliation, all these steps which has to be done as a prerequisite before we even close a period is done by the bot. So its bot's been configured to do these steps in one after another with the right parameters, because some programs in Oracle does need the right parameters, the right steps, and then it goes and comes back. So when a bot's been fired off, we've got multiple bots, and each one of them gets executed. It comes back, moves on to the next one, comes back, moves on to the other one. So it keeps doing this until the full cycle of the prerequisite steps been completed. I hope I could answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Really helpful. Thanks, Ajay. Shubham, just move on to the last couple of slides and I'll round up, and then we'll turn to questions. So look, we've got quite a few questions, and please do keep them coming in. Before I turn to that, if you're out there thinking, how do I know whether my organization would benefit from some of this automation? We do have a quick kind of assessment calculator up on our website. So if you want to take a scan of that, and if you haven't got a scanner to hand, your phone to hand, don't worry, we'll be sending this out after the webinar. But if you take a scan of that QR code, it'll take you through to our Ready Reckoner, and you can look at the various processes that we have automated, and that can give you an indication of the kind of scale, a very rough and ready indication of the kind of scale of benefit you might be able to see. So please do go and explore that if you want. And indeed, if you want to take this further, we've got the next stages in how we'd work with you, if this was of interest to you, is what we call our Fit in 5. So you've already had the first 5 minutes, which is the demo. So thank you very much for that, Shubham. You can see on the slide that after the demo is our 5 hours of discovery. And really what we try to do there is understand your specific requirements. And then within 5 days, we can build a proof of concept for you. And 5 weeks after that, we can have a MVP, minimum viable product, up and running in your production environment based on what came out of the POC. And then we're pretty confident that within 5 months, and actually often a lot shorter than that, you can start to get tangible benefits in your organization and genuine return on investment. So that's the steps that we adopt to go through. We call it Fit in 5, if that's of any interest to you. Okay, so that's it as part of the formal presentation. I would like to turn to the questions now. We've got about 12 or 13 minutes, and we'll get through as many of your questions as we can. There's one come through, and Shubham, I think this is probably best for you. Where and how is AI used in this solution? If you can tell that, Shubham.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, I think, one of the most frequent questions that is being asked these days, what kind of AI functionalities we have. So we are using AI in different aspects of the solution, primarily in extraction of data. Like I think one of the examples that Ajay mentioned, when they implemented invoice creation process or invoice processing, they started using AI. We normally use Google Document AI and Vertex AI. So that helps in extracting information and provides very high accuracy. Along with that, it kind of detects the format of different kind of templates, and also with the Vertex AI, it's easy to train the algorithm as well. Currently, we are also looking into Oracle AI agents, which will help us to automate the entire workflows, given that it could be anything, creating a chatbot, digital assistant, or probably automating the entire process. So that will also be part of one of our future releases. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Shubham. Really, really good. AJ, next one probably, well, definitely for you, actually. The Nufarm story sounds a great one. What would you do differently if you had the chance to start again?
I think I would focus a bit earlier on getting the right design, though we were good with the whatever we could achieve with the month-end closing and automation. But I think it's important to understand that if you have a country-specific localizations or changes, or how would you incorporate that? So it's more about thinking ahead. in terms of are they, because in the end, what you're replicating is the steps what users do, and and it could be standard Oracle solutions, but then if you have any solutions which is been either customized or country specifics and all, then it's good to put it up front so that we can think of on how better way to design the automation. That's one key aspect, I would say. And second is give enough time for UAT to ensure that users not only just understand that, okay, what's been working as expected and executing the steps, but also give them a confidence to making sure it's end to end. So it's not just but your automation specific UAT testing, but you also integrated other areas of UAT so that they get a better confidence into the outcome for the UAT.
Great, thanks, Ajay. Really helpful. Next one, Shubham, can you take this one? I think. What is the technology that WinfoBots runs on? What's the architecture? Yeah, if you can give us a couple of minutes on that without getting too techy in the interest of time.
Yeah, sure. I'll try my best, Mark. And thank you so much for that question. It's really an interesting one. I actually have one slide focused on it somewhere over here that will give us an overview of the application and how it works. So it's a SaaS-based application where it's hosted on OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The command center is developed on Oracle Apex, and that's our user interface that you saw on the application demo. We use, as I mentioned earlier, Google Document AI and Google Vertex AI for extraction purpose. And also we use Python in order to code into various aspects, like for extraction and implementation as well. And the execution is primarily done through UiPath, and it can be done on Oracle Fusion or EBS. And again, with this application, you have features of connecting to various other systems or the legacy systems, whatever you have in your business. So it gives you easy access to data where it analyzes and produces required results as expected.
Great, thanks, Shubham. Let's make sure we include that slide when we send this presentation out afterwards. Actually, that's quite for those who are interested in the more technical side, that is quite helpful for sure. Good. Next question, again coming back to Nufarm, AJ. It's you mentioned benefits on the slides. Where did you see the most benefit for Nufarm? Was it productivity or efficiency or quality?
That's a good question, and it's all this has to have a KPIs to measure. Each area is beneficial. I mean, we have seen benefits in productivity, no doubt. We have seen benefits in error handling, less errors. In fact, our support tickets for IT has gone down because most of the steps are being executed during month end or is by the bot, so that there's no opportunity for an error, or there's no issue with the wrong parameters being entered, and then we have to spend hours and hours reconciling stuff. Whereas here, everything every month and it's the same parameters except the dates and month periods been changing. But then so in the areas where it was, especially in process manufacturing and accounting and subledger reconciliations, we saw a high reduction in the errors been reported, and that was a key benefit. And yeah, the efficiency gain because of the time it takes to execute stuff, but then at the same time, the same capacity or the same time's been given back to the business so they could focus on the other areas of the business. So these are the key areas where we see the maximum benefit.
Right, thanks, AJ. Let me stay with you for a second, and then I'm going to point the same question to you, Shubham. And it's a question about languages. It says the question is, how many languages does WinfoBots support? And I'm asking you in the first place, AJ, because you mentioned obviously Nufarm's are multinational. Were you using English everywhere, or did you use multiple languages?
No, in fact, that was our first question we asked Winfo when we started conversation, that we implementing automation in Europe, and it's just not English. We need it in in Ukraine, we need it in Turkey, we need it in Hungary, we need it in so Poland, and our invoices come into different languages from different countries and suppliers in Europe, and we managed to get that with the solution, with the Google AI, with the UiPath. So no, it does. In fact, we managed to cater all our languages in Europe using the solution.
Right. And Shubham, do you happen to know off the top of your head how many languages?
Yeah, so at the moment, we are supporting over 30 languages. And again, as I said, we are expanding it as we talk about it. So yeah, hopefully in the future, we'll see more coming in.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I'm going to stay with you, Shubham, for the next one. How many business processes does WinfoBots currently automate?
Right. Okay. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So we like to position it as a package solution where we say that we have pre-built processes. So at the moment, you saw some of the processes on the screen earlier. So as of now, we have about 49 processes that are already created, which are ready to plug and play depending on the business requirements. And also we offer services where we look into the business, and if you are looking to automate any other processes apart from these 49, we can work with you to create an automation solution for those as well. So we cover entire breadth of the business. 49 are there, which are the critical processes ready to be plugged in, and we can work with you to automate some of the processes if there's any requirement.
And if I can just add one other kind of additional question to that, of those processes, and you showed it on that slide with the high and the low, or high and the medium, whatever it was. What was the criteria for deciding which were the most potential processes for applying WinfoBots to?
Yeah, okay. So we actually started by looking into those departments. We picked up those processes. Usually within processes, you have either sub-processes or activities and tasks that are completed step by step. So we work with the clients to understand how they perform those processes essentially, how the users perform those tasks, and kind of made a note of what are the activities that are kind of manual, repetitive, and that can be automated, which also included a view of whether you need a human intervention if you want to execute a process end to end. And if at all required, at what all steps you would need a human intervention. And that's the logic we took to highlight for a process. We can say that whether it can be automated, maybe for the majority of the steps, let's say 80% or 90%, or in some cases where it can be automated only let's say half of it. So where you would need more kind of a decision making rather than just executing the steps one after the other. So that's how you would see the heat map over there, which highlights the ones that are high potential, which have a capability to be automated properly, or maybe with the majority of steps. And then there are some which cannot be automated completely, given that it involves some sort of human intervention and also any kind of decision making. And given that we are introducing AI, we are also seeping into those medium potential and low potential processes and converting them to higher ones. So hopefully in the next few months, you will see that kind of conversion.
And I guess it follows that could be different for different organizations, I guess, and whatever is the high for one might be medium for another, and vice versa.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So when we spoke to the clients, depending on how exactly as you said, how they perform those processes, sometimes critical or high potential ones were different, or maybe they were the medium potential, something like that. But in general, we found out those processes involved a lot of tedious tasks or activities to be performed, to be executed. And that's where with the majority of cases, we saw that they were ending up in the high potential areas. So yeah, you can say in some cases they are different, but overall on average, they remain in that category.
Okay, great. So look, that's 45 minutes. The commitment I gave at the start was that we would end after 45 minutes. So always keen to meet my commitments. So just concluding remarks, thank you to everyone for attending today and giving your time. We really appreciate your interest. We will be following up with this presentation, so that should be landing in your inboxes very shortly. Please do get in touch if you've got any questions. And lastly, thank you very much to Shubham and to Ajay for your contribution today. Really, really helpful. And we will leave everyone to get on with the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.